As those still living through Hurricanes Katrina and Sandy are showing us, flood recovery is a job that takes years. Now High River is organizing its future response on two fronts. First, they're examining their own RCMP, and second, they're organizing an ongoing volunteer force that would move like a stealth security unit.
The emergency services that were needing to rescue anyone who was trapped forcibly entered our house. So our door has had some modifications made to it. During the initial part of the flood, and emergency officers were gaining access to all of the houses in the area. Some of them required forced entry just to make sure that there were no people still in the house and that everyone was safe.
This is a full-on disaster. This is a tsunami on the prairies that, you know, I don't know that a lot of emergency planning would have really taken into consideration, right?
RCMP are handling 1,900 complaints about police forcefully entering property, a breach that has launched a national investigation into the High River tactics.
I think the commissioner has taken a very bold step in, at least in my service. I don't know that I've seen a commissioner himself go to the CPC, so the Commission for Public Complaints against the RCMP, and asked him to initiate a public complaint and do an independent third-party review of our actions, right? So it's not that we won't do our own internal reviews, because we do with every major event. What went right, what went wrong, lessons learned, and where can we improve. This one is fairly unique in the sense that on the scale, but because there was so much public criticism over some of the decisions that were made, rather than, I would suggest, leave any kind of air of influence or cover up this kind of thing, he's gone. Personally, he went to the CBC and asked them to do it. You need to do this so that we can remove all of that question from the equation when he comes out with his answers.
It's a trust-building step. Another level of repair in a town where answers are slow in coming and too many feel their lives are in limbo.
So welcome to Saddlebrook. This is your, this is not the typical suite. These are a little, ours is a little newer and nicer than many that we've seen.
Sunset down over the river where I lost you.
A temporary government-made neighborhood where families are fed, housed, and waiting to move back home. Pastor Chris takes the problems here to his High River Renewal Committee. It's uniting charities to harness an ongoing volunteer force that plans to recruit 60 volunteers a week for the next 2 years to help families here rebuild.
We're going after churches, we're going after volunteers from right across Canada that have served with Samaritan's Purse, or people that they want to come out and serve. They heard about the flood in the news. Maybe they volunteered, maybe they didn't have a chance to volunteer over the summer. And so we're welcoming them here. There'll be opportunity for them to sign up on our website at samaritanspurse.ca to volunteer, and the deal is they take care of their transit out to Calgary, and we take care of them from there. So we'll take care of their accommodations, their meals, and we'll put them to work.
But the Soul Care takes a different approach.
I suppose the reality is that, first of all, we know that our problems are not bigger than what God can solve. And that God's arm is not too short. And that He's quite capable of looking after this. You know, and that again, this flood that has rocked most of our worlds, in the grand scheme of things, will probably be a blip on the radar. But more so than that these are the tools in the hands of a master craftsman who is making something that we haven't seen yet. That there's a glory that is being crafted, that is being revealed.
Swing low, sweet chariot, is there room for me?
What I've been calling people to is to be as patient as they can, to stay together. This, I think, is where churches bond together more than they ever have before. And not only is there security when we're together, but we represent something when we're together, that there's a unique quality that comes about when people gather together in the name of Jesus. Something is alive in a different way than it is when we're by ourselves. And that we have a need to cry out to God together, to seek Him together, and to ask questions together, and to really lean in on each other whenever we can.
These are the new kind of sermons that recovering homeowners are taking to heart.
What I liked about what he said is like how to be frustrated and mad, even at God or at the situation or whatever, while still loving Him and knowing His goodness, you know, and being able. I thought it was very important to understand how to separate like your emotions and your soul response to things, separate that from like your spirit man response to things.
Right.
And because your spirit man is one that connects with the Spirit and like is. You know, he agrees with the Spirit and all that stuff. So you can align yourself, and your soul needs time to express itself and all that stuff. So you can express all these emotions, but you don't want to live there.
Right.
You don't live in that spot because you're not a soulish man. You're a spirit-led man. And so it was
God's Spirit-led?
Yeah, God's Spirit man.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so it's important to you learn that in times like this or when bad things happen. You know, how to separate your reaction and how you feel about a situation with what is true and is God good. You know He's good and you rely on those things and you have faith in Him and He's faithful. And yeah, you still feel all these things and you deal with those, but you always rest on the side of knowing His goodness and living there. And that's it. And they can both happen at the same time.
The Adolphs plan to raise the house from its flooded foundation, add another meter of height to avoid future floods, and then rebuild all on a new foundation. It made me wonder, why wouldn't you just tear it all down and start over?
We thought about it. We definitely thought about it. Part of it is that we just bought the house, so that feels a little bit of a defeat. We didn't see the potential. We didn't realize the potential. The other part of it is we just love our neighborhood. We love High River, and that's just not an option. We moved here because we were called here. So we feel like enduring and going through the process alongside of our new friends and neighbors is important to our citizenship in this town.
It's a tough life lesson on reality every family will face sooner or later.
What I've learned is that suffering is, you can suffer in two ways in life. You can suffer out of disobedience or poor choices, those kinds of things, the consequences of your choices. And then you can suffer within the goodness of the Father. I would never trade this summer for anything because of what has happened in me. I'm here because He decided that this would be the best place for my family. And He's taken care of it. And it's been horribly hard, but really, really great at the same time.
When we return, the final word on perseverance from the Context TV flood family, the Adolphs. We're giving the final word today to a High River family we tracked with on the first days of the flood until now. Gary Adolph is a contractor and a volunteer firefighter. His wife Carla and their 3-year-old fled for their lives in the flood while he was out saving others. Less than a month into owning their first home, sewage backup filled their basement and a new level of persistence had to be reached for by this young family.
You know, we want to do things right and well and invest in the town and with the people that are here who love being here and go for it.
And that's really what we feel like the Lord has been saying about this town. Is there's an opportunity in every decision you make in High River to band-aid or invest. And we want to be investors. That's who we are. And we just don't feel a peace about just sort of band-aiding our home. We just really sense that this is almost like a prophetic statement. Like, this is what this town is meant for. It's meant for long-term, quality, invested people.
Carla is a musician whose latest CD on loss and the perspective it gives to our lives seems an appropriate tune on which to end today's program. We'd like to share this CD with you, and you can get your copy when you call us at 1-866-315-2080. For all of us at Context, I'm Lorna Dueck. Thanks for watching.